Now we're up.
There we go. After a little scrambling and hambling to get on the air, we're on the air or on the whatever it is this is. Good morning, Michael Knight,
Good morning to
down
you,
there in
Vinnie.
Los Angelino.
I'm an Angelino, and we're staying strong. Today we have the last day of the big wins, we think.
Well, yeah, you don't really know, do you?
Well, you can do the weather ladies, but the weather ladies have this problem of saying that everything is ours or yours. It's
Yeah.
your wind, it's your Wednesday, but it's our wind. It's our rain, but it's your Thursday. And for your weekend, you're gonna have something that you can take possession of. When did they all start doing that? They all do it now. The
And
weather the
well,
weather
what I've
girls.
also noticed is that the people that they bring in from other places, like they have a guy who's in, they have several people, and CBS does, has a guy in from Pittsburgh.
Right.
And he is now talking about our weather and our community and our this and not for nothing, but
It ain't
you're a
yours.
rental, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think some of these guys have gotten a little Hollywood on us.
well, certainly the guy from Pittsburgh has. I mean, I don't know him. He I guess got there after I left, but he certainly has the he's got that image that CBS seems to be trying to protect of we're all in this together. And then they try to project that with reporters like I don't know, Jamie Erdahl, I think her name is. Isn't she one of the anchors? And she's up in everybody's business. She knows everything about everybody and nothing about nobody.
Does she know that I didn't pick up my dry cleaning because I just can't get out of the house?
I think she did. Why can't you get out of the house?
Well, I can get out of the house. I just don't want to.
Yeah, well, um,
Here's a pretty good idea of what's happening in L.A. Yesterday, the incessant helicopters that are all over everything looking for a story spotted a tiny little brush fire between the freeway crossings in the San Fernando Valley. This was no bigger than a barbecue fire, and there were, I think, 60 fire trucks that responded. They showed up and they meant business. This barbecue fire was not gonna ruin their day, and they weren't going to be responsible for letting it get any larger. It was a huge response, and I remember looking at the shot from overhead, going, "Where in the world is the fire? I can see the fire trucks, I can see the firemen, I can't see the fire." Finally, they zoomed in, and it was a little brush fire, and I'm glad that they responded in that way. But that's how paranoid everyone is that the winds are going to take the next fire and turn it into something monstrous and murderous before anybody can stop it.
yeah, I would have to say that right now, I would if somebody dropped a match on the sidewalk, I
Yeah.
would be responding to what was going on in much the same manner.
By the way, the arsonists that are wandering around in the middle of the night getting arrested are carrying barbecue starters with them.
Well, I mean, there's nothing like advancement of your craft, right?
Yeah, you got a tool, the tools of your trade.
Um, I actually don't understand why they haven't banned the sale of any implement of that type anywhere in Southern California.
I know what you mean.
I mean, when they have riots in New York, the first thing that they used to do is they would go to all the gas stations and say, shut down your pumps.
You're not pumping gas for anybody.
You're not pumping gas. And then it would go from that to no gas in any type of container.
Right. And
You
no
know,
container,
you
no container that can
it's
hold
a
gas.
$1,000 fine if we catch you putting gas in any kind of container except if it's surrounded by four wheels. Um, we
We've
don't need
learned.
people walking around with bottles.
We've learned this is where you draw the line.
Yeah. And I don't understand why we haven't seen any of that. You shouldn't be selling charcoal. You shouldn't be selling matches. You shouldn't be selling anything that has the remote possibility of starting a fire.
What do you call those remote click, click, click fire starters that they use for
Well, some
barbecues?
people call them an instant match or a mechanical match, or there was a name for them when we were in the Boy Scouts. It wasn't quite the same thing, but uh, um, it was it was basically a flint
Yeah.
that you could rub. You'd strike it, and it would create a spark, and you would use that on a very volatile piece of material like tinder or
Or a Cub Scout. You could always two Cub
yeah,
Scouts start a pretty good fire.
yeah, and you would start because the trick is when you're a Cub Scout is when you anybody who's been a Cub Scout, I guess I don't know if this is still true, but when I took my Boy Scout, I was never a
Your
Cub Scout, I was a
your
Boy Scout.
Webelos test.
When I took my second class test, part of the requirement to get your second class certification was that you had to start a fire and cook a meal with, and the fire that you started had to be created with no more than 3 matches. That was it, and they stood over you and watched you.
You better hope they're dry.
So yeah, and they weren't because we were out at a place called Camp Pouch on Staten Island.
With a lot of fog and marine layer.
And yeah, and there was fog and it was wet. I believe it was the springtime. Um, if I remember right, we went out to Camp Pouch and we were out at this campground, and you could not use it. No person could use more than 3 matches to light a fire. They, that was the rule. So if you used one, great. If you used two, great. If you used three, great. But once you were there, um, they told you to go sit over in the rejects corner.
Go sit with the guys who are not square. Boy Scouts are square.
I actually thought it was a good idea because when you have only a certain number of things that you can use, you tend to treat them much more valuably.
That first strike is an important one.
That I mean, you think about before you start a fire, before you use that first match, you think about, do I have everything I need? Do I have something to fan the flames? Do I have the right kind of wood? Is the wood wet or is it dry? So there's a lot that goes into it to
Do I have any
create this
balsa
kind of
wood?
stuff.
Do I have any kindling? Do I have any starter? Do I have leaves? And
Well,
not
yeah, do
green
you have
grass,
the
but
stuff you need
something
to,
that's
to
going to
create
burn.
a fire? And if you don't, you're not going to eat that night. And at 12 years old, not eating or the prospect of not eating has a larger impression on you
It's huge.
than eating. And even though you could theoretically hike out to the hamburger stand out there on Victory Boulevard, the reality was is that you weren't going to do that. If you didn't get that thing started, you weren't going to eat dinner that night. So, um,
The treacherous
but
words of Boy Scout.
for the life of me, I just don't understand why you could buy any implement like that in Southern California today, or anywhere in California for that matter. There's no
He,
constitutional right to having one.
he looked normal. I wanted to make the sale. I increased the price on him by 30%.
So again, I don't know. I don't know, but that's one of the first things I would have considered in the whole deal is that you don't sell anything that can create a fire to anybody. If they're an emergency type of person, they should have had the foresight to have this stuff already. If they're a real emergency type of person, they can go borrow it from somebody else until the emergency is over.
And who's out in the backyard barbecuing in this weather anyway?
That's it. I mean, again, I don't know. I'm not down there. You're down there. You know a lot more about it. And I just don't see any reason. If you're buying something to start a fire, you're doing it to create trouble. There's no reason that you can come to me and say to me, I need to start a fire here because I need X, Y, or Z. And I know it's cold and I know it's this and I know it's that, but the reality is right now nobody needs to start a fire.
Actually, the temperatures have kicked in. It's in the 70s today, if you can believe that. But
Well,
next week's supposed to be chilly, so I don't
right.
know.
Well, last night I heard them complaining about how cold it was.
It was
The
cold
night
last night.
before, the temperatures had gone down,
You're
and
absolutely
so
right.
you know, so I mean that's one of the things that just immediately strike me as somebody who's not down there is that we have passed a point where you can say, well, people are responsible. They're not going to go to the 7-Eleven and buy one of those Kingsford fire igniters. I mean, who would do that?
Oh yeah, we got them. We got them.
Yeah, we got boxes of them in the back.
I mean, we got people who want them, who want to buy them. I just wanted
And
one
we
with
all
me in
know that
case,
there are,
just in case.
yeah, and we all know that there are people, that if they think they can turn over an extra buck selling them, will do that.
Sure they will.
It's just a horrible fact of life that we all live in these days. If there's a
How was
guy
I
that owns
supposed
a
to?
7-Eleven,
How was I supposed to know he was going to start a fire with his fire starter?
all right, well, that's it. You're personally responsible until you're not personally responsible anymore,
Right.
which is the mantra of the Republican Party these days.
Oh, don't get me started on that. Do not get me started on that. Apparently, California is not part of the contiguous United States. We're
Well,
not.
yeah,
We're not eligible for help or consideration from our federal government, especially if they're Republicans from Louisiana or Tommy Tuberville says California should get nothing.
Tommy Tuberville. I mean, not for nothing, but he wasn't all that much of a good football coach. And the only reason is that he got elected to anything is because he went down to wherever Donald Trump was and sat there and sucked his dick for a bunch of hours. Um,
Ours? That seems no.
and I hate to use such language, but there is this guy is a punk ass piece of crap.
Other than that,
And I would love to see this guy's family pitch a tent out there in California and have to live out there for 6 months or a year in the fire area, the most damaged fire area.
or explain to the firemen who are living in a camp in the Rose Bowl parking lot why they're there.
I mean, this guy is just the worst despicable form of human being that we have to offer on this planet. And he was when he was a football coach, too. I remember Tommy Tuberville. And I remember him chasing his secretary around the desk and, all of the crap that went on down there around that. So this is no St. Tommy that we're talking about. This is a guy that this is a guy who's lost his way because he's been accepted by the MAGA people.
He made a deal with his football supporters, and now he's made a deal with his political ones. It's easy to do. You got a triple shot there, Vin?
Of course, yes. Um,
Coffee.
so but again, going back to that stuff, I don't know why they don't ban that. Again, I don't know why they continue to show people who want to stand in their front yard with a garden hose and declare themselves heroes.
Independent. We're independent. We don't need the fire department.
You're
We don't
not a
want them.
hero. You've put other people's lives in danger. Instead of getting up and leaving when the fire department or the police or whoever it was told you to, you said, no, I'm going to stand here with my garden hose because I think I'm smarter than anybody else on the planet about fighting fires. I think I'm smarter about what it takes to knock down a fire.
I have no experience, and I don't even have my yellow fire coat. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to beat this thing. Stand behind me. Stand with me. All my neighbors. Come on now, lend a hand.
Right. And once I stand out there and that my house is engulfed in flames,
I can blame the fire department.
I'll find some shyster lawyer who will find a multi-million-dollar suit against the county of Los Angeles or the city of Pasadena or Altadena or Dina Martin, and try to and sue them for all the money I can possibly get.
Can't we leave Dina Martin out of this? Maybe not.
So I don't understand the thinking, Michael. You lived there, maybe you. I mean, I lived there, but I never understood it then, and I don't understand it now. First rule you have is if you want to stand in your front yard, you don't get insurance money. We don't send anybody to save you.
One of the things that this MAGA mindset has created, Vinny, is that there's always another answer. Two and two is four. But if you don't like the answer four, for you, for a limited time only, it can be five. Or if you're strung out, it can be three. It can be what you want, but you got to stick to it. And when you get to it, we say two and two is four. How did you come up with three? Stand your ground, double down, get another garden hose, get your
But you
neighbor's
can't be
garden hose.
wrong.
Get your neighbor's garden hose. No, you're not wrong. You just
We
haven't
don't
got the
allow
right
you to
answer
be
yet.
wrong. I'm trying to find this, and I know I probably sound pretty mean about this, but I'm just kind of, kind of at a point with it, Michael, where I'm just, um, I'm just kind of done with the idiots.
But don't you think there's an idiot on Mercer Island or Bellevue who would do the same thing?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I don't think it's exclusive to California. Um, yeah, no, there'll be people that will do. And why? Because they saw the idiots in Southern California doing the same
I'm
thing.
going to get a pool super pump.
The scuba. I'm gonna put my scuba gear on, and every time the flame goes overhead, I'm gonna go in the water
When the
under
pool,
the pool. I got this
and
all figured out.
when the pool starts to
Tony
boil, what are
Robbins
you going to
showed
do?
me.
Oh yeah, Tony, he's good at that. You dance the mashed potato when you're incinerating your neighbor's
Tony
uh,
Robbins told me how to do this.
plywood fence.
Um, so I don't know. I mean, I don't mean to be unfeeling toward people, but I guess at some point you do get a little. You get sick of both sides.
Well, people get irrational on the best of days, but on the worst of days, it's easy to be irrational.
Right, but why does the person who is paid probably several $100,000 a year to sit in a studio behind a control board and say this is good, that this is something people should see, this is something people should see. Oh no, they shouldn't see this. Why does that person isn't that person held to account?
Because it's filler, it's just content. Was it good or was it bad? I don't know. It took me to the top of the hour.
You know, I think that's part of the me of the problem is that we're all just trying to get to the top of the hour.
Well, there's some truth to that in broadcasting. They're not making the brightest decisions.
But are we presenting
It's
things
it's not the top of the hour. It's the top of your hour or the top of our hour.
right? Because the hours belong to all of us. We're all in this together. Um, and
And they walk
whereas
on. They walk on. Then they walk across it. Then they walk off the camera. Then they walk in front. Then they turn. Then they walk the other way. Then they point. Then they gesture. Then they say our. Then they say your. Then they say back to you in the studio. It's just
yeah, I
weird.
saw
It's a weird dance. It's like watching a praying mantis.
I saw a shot yesterday. Somebody was doing a stand up live shot, and all of a sudden, all of the power went off in front of an Arco station. Um, somewhere. I don't know where because they
There's going
never
to be
put
more
a
of that. There's going to be more of that today as they pull the plug in
yeah
the
they
high
never
wind
put
areas.
a graphic up of where she was. So I had no idea. All I know is that she was standing in front of some Arco station, um, south of Fresno, and maybe 10 miles south of Fresno, maybe 500 miles south of Fresno.
And how is that a story?
I guess the story was the lights went out, but nobody thought to indicate where exactly she was, so I would have an idea of, well, is this close to me? Is it
What,
far away from me?
what does it mean to me?
What does it tell me? Should I be upstairs putting my undies in a bag and get ready to move? What's my next move here? But no,
Should I go to or away from Fresno? I can answer that in all
yeah,
weather.
I think there's one stock answer for that one.
Go away, young man.
So
Coffee.
yeah, I just there's so much,
And
and again I pray for the people that have enough sense not to stand in their garden and try to water their roof while flames are. You can see them advancing down the hill. I pray for the power crew from Southern California, Edison, who was inspecting power lines yesterday and had a reporter from KCAL walk up to them and demand to know what they were doing there.
was that Biff Jiggerman?
No, it's some woman with a pair of tight jeans and a microphone. That's
Hold it
all I
right
can
there.
tell you about her.
Hold it right there, workers. Hold it right there.
Yeah, I mean the way she approached these workers who were it seemed to be out checking lines
Hmm.
to see if anything was flaring up is who the hell are you?
That I didn't see. I would like to see that.
Yeah, I'm sure it's on. I'm sure she has an exotic sounding name, and she's it's on the KCAL
KCAL
website
website. Yeah.
because it challenges authority, and they love to do that.
Gotcha.
So boy, I'm trying to remember her name because I'd see Comstock, I think was her last name.
The Comstock load.
So I think that for me, and again, you're there, you know more than I do. Right now, if I lived there, I would probably be trying to do everything I could to get as far away from that area as I could.
Well, we got one more day of wind, and then I think we're going to theoretically return to normal. But who knows?
Well,
Who's
yeah,
getting the word on
I don't trust that
that forecast?
anybody knows what weather is going to. This is when do we know what Mother Nature is going to do?
You mean your Mother Nature or our Mother Nature?
Anybody's Mother Nature. When did all of a sudden we start to put our faith and trust and hope in an entity that we not only can't see, but can't hear, can't feel, and is at best a 50-50 crapshoot.
By the way, the weather woman on Channel 4 wears see-through high heels, very high heels, which they don't photograph on the green screen, so it looks like she's standing on her toes as she goes back and forth in front of the temperatures in the valleys, the mountains, the sea. To the sea, to the mountains, to the valleys.
Yeah, it does show you,
On your
and
Wednesday.
it, and there are so many wonderful stories that can be told about people who listen to the authorities. People who say, that's a good idea for me to evacuate this place. Yes, officer, I'm going to listen to you. And I'm going to get myself and my family away from here.
Or I could call Tommy Tuberville and get another opinion.
Yeah. Or I can call the expert on everything. I mean, Tommy seems to know so much about, first of all, I never met anybody from any of those states down there that know really much about anything. Hate to say it, but um, uh, Carolina, North Carolina, South Georgia, Mississippi, um,
Arkansas.
Alabama,
Don't forget Arkansas. Don't forget Tennessee.
Arkansas, and
Don't forget,
Oklahoma,
don't forget Kentucky.
Kentucky, West Virginia. It's just not a place that I ride through and say, let me see if I can find somebody to give me an answer to a question that I may not know,
What is a
except
black hole?
about coal mining or sleeping with your sister.
Those are both the same, by the way.
Probably a truer statement than you'd like to be true. Um, so that all being said, I mean there are great stories about people who have come together to help each other out. The knock on California always is, well, everybody's so self-absorbed that when push comes to shove, when something like this happens, they're all just going to walk past each other,
That's
and
somebody
that
from
certainly is
Dallas.
not the case.
That's somebody from Dallas telling you that.
I mean, we've seen stories of people who have food trucks who have, driven themselves to downtown Pasadena or other parts, opened up their food trucks and just started handing out food to people.
Jay Leno among them. Jay Leno set up a whole kitchen in the Rose
Yeah,
Bowl.
you have,
Set up another one in Malibu, and was cooking and serving himself.
yeah, you
Or
have.
he himself was cooking and serving.
Yes, thank you. I'd hate to think that I had Jay Leno for dinner. Um, you know, uh, the people that I see, I mean, it makes me want to get into a truck and drive it down to Southern California full of water or full of toilet paper or full of something that people would have an immediate use for. Um, because
Exili.
I feel for people that in Southern California. I feel for these people that are going through this. And then when I see a Tommy Tuberville or a that
Mike
little
Johnson.
weasel,
Mike Johnson.
Mike Johnson, or any of these people say, well, we'll have to put some tough conditions on California.
We're not helping them. Why should we help California? We're
How
not
in
helping
how in
them.
the world do you even feel secure in opening your mouth like that?
Hey, Louisiana. Hey, Arkansas. You want to get even sometime? Yeah, well, wait, your time is coming.
Well, that's exactly what it feels like. That's exactly what it feels like, Michael. It feels like, oh well, we you didn't vote for Trump, or you didn't vote for this, or you didn't do that. So it's about time that we
You asked for it.
are going to get even with you. We're going to gum up the process as much as we can to get you aid,
Not
to
helping
get you
you.
some kind of help.
Not helping the West. Not helping you. We don't deserve it. Tommy Tuberville says we get nothing. That's all. That's what we get.
I truly, truly would love to meet Tommy Tuberville. Um, right in a small room.
It ain't gonna happen.
He's the kind of guy I'd like to meet. He's the kind of guy I'd like to stand in front of for a couple of minutes. Um, he's just as exemplified. He is the textbook dictionary of a human piece of shit.
Interestingly enough, the representatives and the senators from Florida said, "Give California what they want. Give them what they need. No conditions." Why? Because I live in Florida. I know what's coming. The hurricane season's coming, and we're going to get ours.
Yeah.
If you people in Arkansas could afford weather, you'd be getting yours. He had something to
And,
do
and,
besides be
and
scared.
where is our supreme leader? Both of them, actually. The one that's coming and the one that's there. Where are these people right now? Trump, I know, is planning his inaugural ball. He'll dance on the souls of the people who were killed in this tragedy.
That's his job, dance on the souls.
He's already ready to throw a big party after they give him the nuclear codes.
Jeff Bezos is paying for it. By the way, his rocket didn't launch yesterday.
Did it not?
Nope, the Amazon rocket was right on the launch pad where it was yesterday. It's still there, not
Now,
going
was it
anywhere.
intentional that it didn't launch,
Yes,
or
they pulled the plug. They said we're not ready to launch. Nope, nope, nope. Shut her down. Shut her down.
okay? I mean, that might be the smartest thing I've heard from there. I mean, there's nothing that says anything like common sense than shooting a 106-foot dick up into the air from Vandenberg Air Force
When you
Base or
put,
wherever they
you put
shoot
it
it off
that
from.
way. I don't think you want to shoot anything from Vandenberg in the wind today. Better pick another site.
Yeah. I can only imagine the damage that would be caused if that thing came down in some dry area.
Wow. Oh, we don't want that.
Yeah. I mean, again, there should be nothing that can start a fire should be allowed to operate in anywhere in Southern California, unless unless you're talking about um, a vehicle that's an emergency vehicle, or I mean, it just shouldn't be.
With a hot catalytic converter. Just park it over there in the weeds. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be okay. Don't worry about it.
I remember a fire got started in Wenatchee when guys were up target shooting on the top of the mountain, and their hot brass went popping out, landed in the grass, and they thought they could put it out with their feet, and they were running for their lives before it was over.
Well, I liked the
That
little
bird.
bit of news I ran across yesterday that said that Elon Musk was going to send, I forget the number, but I think it was in a couple of hundreds of um, Cybertrucks to Southern California.
To start fires?
It seemed to me what he was trying to do. I mean, there's nothing that comes to my mind as far as a vehicle that will start a fire anywhere quicker than a Tesla. Pick your garden variety Tesla, whatever you like. It seems that the fire trucks are burning. They just killed 4 kids in Piedmont, California, just a week or two ago. And I don't know the details to know if it was the Tesla Cybertruck that killed them,
Or just a normal burning sedan?
but I know that they were in a Cybertruck. It just I don't know what was the circumstance in that Cybertruck. I guess they haven't completed an investigation, but it seems like there's at least a thought that the Cybertruck may have had something to do with it. I hope to God not, because that's not a good look for anybody to have a truck that kills on contact.
Well, Elon Musk has heard with the great defense that's being used over and over again. How was I supposed to know? They burn? Who knew?
Well, yeah, we did know, but we didn't. They did say something to us.
But I wouldn't let him finish his sentence. I fired him and had him crushed between 2 big bricks.
Over at the Musk Oil Laboratory.
You sure his name is Elon?
Well, it's Leon.
Leon.
Yeah, Leon. But just the fact that he had the audacity to to want to, look good by sending America's most flammable truck to a fire zone, I thought that was a pretty good idea.
I'll paint them red.
Yeah, maybe you ought to attach some fire extinguishers to those things.
What's that gray flat bond that you spray a car with before they paint it? The undercoat
Primer?
primer. Thank you. They look like they're all been painted with primer.
Yeah, they're rather ugly vehicles. I mean, I don't
Looks
think
like
there's
looks like the
anything.
inside. Looks like the inside of an oven that's never been cleaned.
Yeah, they're unique. It's the only thing that you can really say about it is it's unique. It doesn't look like anything else out there. And for that, I give Tesla engineers a little bit of credit. They created something that's different than everybody else is driving.
Looks like it was made out of cardboard with all the right angles.
Um, it's it's a pretty ugly, pretty hideous looking thing. I have a friend that bought one.
How
He's
much?
promised to take me for a ride in one, in his, I should say. I just don't know um, what our schedules are going to be so that we can get together to do it.
It's hard to
But
pick a day when Leon isn't in the news.
yeah,
The
but
reaction out there on the highway.
I question Kirby because he's a good guy. He's a good friend and somebody I know for a long time. But he's a car guy, so it does make me kind of question him a little bit. Say, why
He
in the
bought
world
he
did
bought
you
he bought
buy
something
this
called a
thing?
cyber. He buy a vehicle called a cyber truck where there's no place to put any lumber or nails or hammer or anything.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
I
a,
guess you could put stuff back there, but getting it out might be a problem.
I've never seen one with the tail end up and a 2x4 sticking out the back with a red flag on them.
I saw one with a refrigerator in it.
I think
Oddly
they
enough,
I think they come standard.
I saw one in Everett, and there was a stainless steel refrigerator standing up in the back of it.
Like you do.
I just looked. I should have taken a picture. I didn't think to take a picture, but that was. I looked at it. This was early on in the whole Cybertruck thing. I looked and I was like,
So something appears to be amiss here.
yeah. Why would you buy that truck? Um, why would you go
Well,
out
you
and
see,
spend it? At that
it's
time, they were going for, a hundred and something $1,000.
it's not a truck. It's just they call it a truck. It has no truck aspects that would make it a truck.
Uh, it's just it's a piece of junk.
You can't put a dog in the back. You can't put a sack of cement in the back.
Now, many years ago, I don't know if you remember this. We had one of these. I think you may have even driven it. Lincoln came out with a truck called the Blackwood. Um,
Wow, that's a long time ago.
I called it the Nina, but that's just me.
The Pinta and the Santa Maria.
Well, no, the Nina Blackwood from
Oh, I see.
MTV,
MTV. Gotcha.
and it was a totally useless pickup truck. The only thing that you could put into this thing were golf clubs.
And they
It
just
had
barely fit.
this bed that had a hinged bed cover. It looked like a Lincoln SUV, except they had cut off behind the front doors and turned it into a pickup, and you could lift up the hard cover that was on the back of the truck and slide some golf clubs in there or something along those lines. And that was about. Oh, it was even carpeted. in there.
And if you drive on the freeway with your tail up, aerodynamically, it takes you off the some wrong exit.
Probably, yeah. I mean, it was truly the most useless. And at that time, they were looking for, I think, $60,000 for them, and it was truly the most useless piece of automobile that you could buy.
A truck for people who will never need a truck.
Well, it was something to talk about at the country club. Look at what I can afford.
Look what I bought, a truck that's not a truck. It just says it's a truck.
Yeah, it says it's a truck, and you can, park it in the truck parking lot, I guess. And you can sit there and look at it and amaze your friends. But the reality is, you can't load a couple of bags of sacrete in there because it'll get into the carpets and discolor the carpets.
Oh dear. Oh my goodness.
You can't load, golf clubs in there because I think that was the only thing you really could load in there. But you couldn't even put the golf clubs in because when you put them in on the carpet, they would slide forward. And there wasn't enough room for you to get in the bed of the truck to pull the golf clubs back. You had to use a cane or a hook or something to get your golf clubs back.
Did Tommy Tuberville ever get one of those from the alumni? Did they give him a
He
black
probably
one?
has a collection of them. I'm sure that
I'm
he is,
happy for him.
and I wouldn't want to insult any good old boy by calling him a Tommy Tuberville or Tuberville or whatever the hell his name is. But there was no earthly purpose for this truck.
Hey Tommy, in your first game next year, you're playing Cal. Come on out. Come on.
And, and the thing that annoys me the most about these people, Michael, is that is about the Tommy Tubervilles of the world. They're the first guys who'll stand up and start quoting Bible to you.
Oh, the Lord said, California shall die. It's right there in the Bible.
I mean, I wrote something yesterday, and I don't know if you saw it or not. But a friend of mine, actually, you know him, Steve Kelly, former sports writer in town
For the Seattle Times.
from Seattle Times. Great guy, just a solid guy. I really enjoy not just his sports writing because he's real about it, but just his just whole attitude. He's a Philadelphia guy, a Philadelphia Catholic guy who actually looks like he attended church every Sunday. And
how do you look when you attend church every Sunday?
it smells like what is the it smells like eternal uh, whatever that incense or that essential oil is that they use to make church smell like it smells, because there's a certain smell that carries over to every church. You don't get it in synagogues,
it's the
you
smell
don't
of a
get it
burning.
in Lutheran churches, but you damn well get it in Catholic and
That's why that's the scent of burning somebody at the stake, Vinnie.
is that what that is?
Oh yeah,
Because it does kind of take that on.
well, that's what it is. Trust me.
Anyway, so Steve wrote this long dissertation about these people who have decided to be decided that California and places like that don't deserve any help, aid.
They get nothing.
They get nothing. And so I'm just, yeah, you definitely you don't get anything. You're you're from California. We've let you go on as much as you can,
We would take
and
away
now we're
erosion
just
if we
gonna,
could.
yeah, and now we're just gonna let you let you go on the way that you've been going on. So anyway, he wrote this thing about Donald Trump and Barack Obama sharing a few laughs at Jimmy Carter's funeral, which I actually felt pretty bad about because I agreed with Steve that um, if somebody, well, he didn't say this, I actually said this, that if somebody insulted my family and caused the damage to my family that a Barack Obama, that Donald Trump caused to Barack Obama's family, there's no forgiveness in my heart for him.
Punch him right in the schnozola.
And I certainly wouldn't be sitting there sharing a laugh with him. And it just I mean Steve nailed it. And I found it to be I just found it to be horrible and he would have even
Disturbing.
yeah, yeah, disturbing and he would have even that Obama would even have
Sat next to him.
yeah, yeah, would just would have not acknowledged his existence. I mean, Michelle didn't even go to the funeral. She didn't want to be um, associated with him. She didn't want anything to say. She had nothing to say to him. And if, as your mother told you, if you don't have anything nice to say,
Then don't say it.
don't say anything. Let me just let me read you what Kelly wrote.
Go.
Um, This he wrote on January 13th. There's nothing funny about Donald Trump, and it angered me to see Obama yucking it up last week at Jimmy Carter's funeral with the convicted felon, who in another week will be returning to the White House. Obama was normalizing the very abnormal narcissist to his left, which there's a picture here of them, which I agree with. Uh, was it funny that Trump was blaming Biden, not he and his climate denier cronies, for the Southern California wildfires? Probably wished he could have blamed them on a Haitian immigrant. Instead, his people are trying to find a disease that they can blame on the immigrants. He blamed the massacre in New Orleans on immigrants, even though the driver of the death machine was from Texas. Were Trump and Obama laughing at the clown car full of cabinet appointees that Trump has selected? Or Trump's vow to go after journalists and judges with whom he didn't agree? Did they think his battle cry to the murderous January 6th insurrectionists was funny? Was that not a laugh riot? Hang
Mm.
like Pence? Really? Was Trump just spitballing when suggested that we inject Clorox to cure COVID? Did the two ex-presidents think that that was just a cute one-liner? There's nothing funny about his deportation plan for immigrants. Nothing funny about his sexual assault of E. Carroll. Nothing funny about his bromance with Leon Musk. Nothing funny about his planned attack on Social Security and Medicare. His suggestion that he may use troops to take over Greenland and the Panama Canal are laughable, but not funny. But there was Obama laughing with Trump as if they were golfing buddies. Trump has shown he is the enemy of democracy, not the future host of the Golden Globes. What
Ah,
was so funny, Barack? of which I just so agree with.
Where did he write that?
I thought that Steve Kelly was so spot on with this. And I
Where did
wrote back
you
to
where did you
Steve.
see that? Where did you see that?
This is on Facebook, on
Okay.
Steve's a post that Steve put up on Facebook, which is where he blows off his steam these days.
Right.
And then I wrote, and I'll post a link to. If you go on my Facebook page, I'll put a link right up there to it, so you'll be
Thank
able to
you.
read it. And then I wrote back, exactly right. I'm not sure how Obama could have found the ability to sit next to that piece of shit after what Trump put he and his family through. I know times are different, but my next door neighbor insulted my mom when we were kids, and my father didn't say a word to the Correntes for the next 20 years. Those old Italians knew how to hold a grudge and carry it out. I lost a lot of respect watching President Obama and Trump interact in that way, and the events of the last few days have only served to show what kind of people Trump and his people truly are, the lowest of the low. And honestly, if you voted for, contributed to, or enabled in any way these subhumans, get yourself some help and stay away from me unless you want to get an earful. God bless the firefighters, first responders, and the victims of the Southern California tragedies.
And may the Corinthians go to hell.
And fuck the Correntes, wherever they are. Now, my old man didn't talk to this guy. I mean, I remember. Um, my old man didn't talk to this guy and did everything in his power to make this guy's life miserable for 20 years.
That's a good effort. Good effort, Joe.
It was a great effort. It was one of those efforts where he didn't want to hurt the guy physically. I mean, he could have walked over to him and just put his lights out. So he didn't want to hurt the guy, but he wanted to just make him regret every day that he opened his mouth. And I thought it was a beautiful thing as a kid to watch. It meant that we couldn't be friends with them,
But that's what you do.
but you don't let somebody insult your mother or your wife or your family. You stand behind. That's the way it was among those old Italians in those days.
Nobody drove a Cybertruck, so you couldn't insult them in that regard.
Yeah, but there were people that drove Studebaker trucks and
that's,
Dodgers.
that's a very
So
that's a very sad.
yeah, so I mean, and Crosley's,
Oh,
which was named after the powerful Powell Crosby, owner of the Cincinnati Reds. So it is what it is. But I found it interesting that you know that somebody actually wrote back and asked me what my opinion of Southern California is, and the mismanagement. And I just wrote one line back, Michael. I said, "Did you ever hear of God? No, did you ever hear of an act of God?"
force majeure.
All of these people are running around saying God this and God that, God this and God that. Well, did they ever consider that everything that's gone on down there is just a plain old simple act of God?
Mother Nature is more in charge than God is.
Is that one day, um, God was pissed off, so he decided to let something happen,
We
as
can't get a
he's
load of
done
this
many
wind.
times before.
Oh yeah, and he will again. He's so loving.
The Manson, a perfect proof to Southern Californians that God isn't everything you think He is sometimes.
He takes a lot of days off. What people don't realize.
Anyway,
And he plays golf with Donald Trump.
Yeah, I just it's one of those things that, and I had to get it off my chest this morning because I just think it's that these people who want to sit there and want to defend Donald Trump and defend what he's done and defend him standing in front of people who've been victimized by a fire as horrific as this
and
one has been,
denying them
while
coverage.
wearing a hat that says Trump was right. Well, I piss on you and piss on your hat.
Shall we gather for a Freaky Friday? What do you say?
Do I seem annoyed, Michael? Do I seem pissed off? I don't seem happy, do I?
It's not going to be a happy 4 years. I saw part of the hearing yesterday for the pea brains and the ne'er do wells who have been appointed to be heads of government by Donald Trump, and I just said I can't watch it. I cannot watch these people. I cannot watch the Senate operating in such a demeaning way. I cannot see these pea brains for what they are, which is just a means to stand between us and our government, what used to be our government.
Yeah.
Right now, we find out that it depends on where you're from whether you get help. California, remember what you said, Tommy. Remember what you said, Donald. You get nothing. We'll remember that. When it comes time,
The problem is, Michael, is
when it
I
comes
don't
time to go to
believe we
the,
will remember it.
you want to go to the store and get tomatoes for your pasta. There aren't going to be any tomatoes. We grow
I,
them.
I think we're, I think we as as citizens of something called the United States,
Well, that's what they call it this week.
I think that we're better than that. I think that if we lower ourselves down to their level, if we put ourselves in their position, if we turn ourselves into Tommy Tubervilles, then we turn into just as much of a piece of crap and part of the problem as they are. So while it's nice to fantasize and nice to think that we'd like to,
Kid
stick
even.
it to them, I think there are things in our makeup, Michael, that won't let us do that. That when Alabama floods or, New Orleans has somebody who drives a Ford F 150 down the street running over 15 or 20 people, or when any of those places,
Hurricane Josephine visits Florida.
yeah, when the hurricanes come and the storms and the different things, the pestilence and the plagues that seem to um, fall onto those states more than any other state, I think we'll pony up the money and we'll say, at least for the time being, that we're all in this thing together.
And you're welcome to it.
And come and get your money and come and get your aid and come and get your FEMA trailers and come and get whatever we can do. Jose, the chef there, Jose, I forget his last name, is not going to stop going to those places to cook food for people. The Salvation Army is not going to stop bringing blankets to people.
By the way, Jay Leno showed up to cook for the firefighters in a 1941 fire engine that he owns.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I think that that's who we are. At the at the bottom line of it, we are people who like to try to think that we can take care of our people,
It's our duty.
but it gets harder every day. And for every Tommy Tuberville in the world, it gets harder to fulfill that obligation that we have as the United States of America to help those people because we don't want to be them. We don't want to wake up one day and
I don't know.
realize that that's
I don't
who
know.
we've turned into.
I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, but I don't want to be like you.
Yeah, I just I think that would be the worst result of all. Um, is that if we wound up turning into uh, somebody who a group of people who decided that we were going to render aid to people based on what we liked about them or didn't like about them, or what good they could do us or not do us. And sometimes I really don't like that we feel like that. But I sure wouldn't want to be them when I woke up in the morning.
But
I'd
remember, for
rather be
them,
me.
they should check their calendar and see what they were doing in 1860. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, we started this shit.
Yeah, I would rather be I'd rather be us than them. Um, all right, I know you want to get out of here quickly before we go. I just want to wish my beautiful sister-in-law Lisa a happy birthday. I think she's 75 or 80 today. I can't remember which
Happy
one.
birthday, Lisa. Go get them. Tear it up.
She's up in Sacramento, and she is keeping an eye on the world up there. And when you just talk about somebody who cares about other people to a fault, Lisa is that person. And
We,
I
we
love her,
support we support
and
your
I just
position wholly.
I hope that she has a good birthday with my nephew and godson and her husband. And happy birthday, Lisa.
Happy.
All right, Mikey. I will see you on Friday morning.
It should be a freaky one.
Yeah, if the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise, which I don't see happening in Southern California anytime soon.
Hasn't rained for 260 days.
Is there any date on when they expect there to be rain?
They do not expect there to be rain. None in the forecast. None.
So anybody who tells you that it's going to rain is just making it up.
Those are the people who said our rain was coming and your week is going to be wet. No, they lied.
Wow.
When they say your rain is coming, you know you're in trouble.
Yeah, well, my anus has been. All right,
Okay.
man. I will see you on Friday. Take care of yourself.
Oh God.
Gonna take you a second on that one, or
Oh, you're. What is today? Wednesday. It's our Wednesday.
it's our Wednesday? Yes.
Okay. Well, tomorrow's your Thursday, so prepare. Gird your loins.
I'm gonna gird my loins tomorrow, and then Friday morning before the show, I'm gonna go out and have my buttocks rotated.
Oh God, is it that time of year again? It's like car
Yeah,
registration.
yeah. It's January, man. It's we're coming up on Martin Luther King Day.
Someone posted on Facebook. 2025 is not going to start till February because January's got some shit going on.
Yeah, no lie. Today is January 15th.
Yep.
It is. I think
The Ides,
actually
the,
today
the
is
Ides,
Martin Luther King's birthday, right?
It's the Ides of January.
Yes. I remember somebody asking me once, why don't the Ides of March get glasses? And I actually just didn't say anything. I just actually contemplated the question.
Was that Tommy Tuberville or Biff Jiggerman or anybody like that?
Probably Tommy Tuberville. Tommy
Well,
Tuberville.
the creek ain't gonna rise, so we're just gonna have to work on something else. Maybe the Manischewitz.
Yes. Peace, love, and Manischewitz, baby. I'll see you on Friday.
Freaky Friday. Thank you, Vinnie. See ya.
All right, Mikey. Take care of yourself.
Happy birthday to everybody.
Happy birthday to everybody. If we haven't wished you happy birthday, take today as your birthday.
You're welcome to it.
All right, man. Take care of yourself. That's Michael Knight. We'll let him go off into the wind, and we will join you back here, as we said, on Monday. Friday, and say a little prayer for the people who are in Southern California who are suffering through this thing. We suffer with you and think about you and hope that I hope that you're able to find a place where you find some empathy and some love for some people who are going through a very tough time. All right. All right. Thank you very much. See you on Friday. Have a good one. Bye bye now.